Hey guys, Mosaic Tech here, and I want to talk about the Warrior as a whole class and the problems the Warrior has, right? So this is actually be the second take I'm doing the video. The first one was just way too long, and I kind of just want to get to the point. So we're going to talk about the pros. The pros of the Warrior is visually, it's an awesome class, very satisfying, the explosions are great, and you know, from an actual role-playing perspective, GGG did an incredible job getting you immersed into the class fantasy of a Warrior. That's a huge, huge success. Now, besides that, actual gameplay mechanics, the clear is excellent. Stampede, support gem combinations, devastate, armor, explosion, splinter, ascendancy with Warbringer. Very, very good clear. Clear speed still sucks though, right? But the clear overall, the clear potential, the screen-wide explosion, screen-wide clear is possible. Splash attacks with cultists is scaling with AoE. That might be a bug. Who knows? But that's also very, very good clear. But, you know, the clear is great. Another thing, which is actually a misconception about the Warrior, is that armor sucks. Armor does not suck. My Titan has 20 to 30k armor depending on scavenge plating stacks, which they did buff, so now that's great. They actually buffed armor from initially, but even before the 15% armor buff, which I don't know, I did some math in my other video, and with sufficiently, like, anywhere from 20 to 30k armor, my Titan has no block investment. Health, a little bit of life regen, block, and armor. You're actually incredibly tanky. A lot of people don't realize too is that nowhere on the tree can you get max res except for the Warrior. With very, very good gear, without any good gear, you can get triple 80 res, which is great. I don't have it yet, but with this investment here, with some soul cores, my Titan has all max res. You can get incredibly tanky. I honestly, with over 4k life on my Titan, I literally feel immortal, right? And that's not with the potential of 11 sockets with max res even more. So that's incredible. You know, people are memeing about it, but don't listen to people. Armor, Warrior, Titan, very, very good defensive class. That is objectively a fact. Like, you know, it has its faults, but defensive aspects of Titan, good. What other positives? So visually, the class is a marvel, very immersive, super fun to play, great clear, very satisfying. The slam playstyle, I've always been a fan of it. It's very responsive, feels good. Melee in general feels good, right? Attacking, you know, being able to cancel your stuff. You can kind of cancel your actual attack animations at perfect frames to really, like, get your attack off and then dodge in different directions almost immediately. You see here with WSD, very, very good responsive. Now you're going to be like, oh, this guy's bullshit, right? Okay, let me get into the big negative. And this big negative, everybody knows what it is. It's the speed. This big negative of the class leaks into every single aspect of the class and makes every part of the class feel terrible. People are like, oh, I'm not tanky as Warrior. The reason why people say that is because they attack so slow. They don't have enough investment. You know, even me, I don't have enough investment. Is that you'll start attacking, you're so goddamn slow that you literally get caught in your attack, you get stunned, you get frozen, and you die. And people misconceptualize that, well, I'm not tanky because armor sucks, or my health sucks, or block sucks. It's because you're too slow. The other classes don't want to deal with that, right? Like, you do get stunned and stuff like that as a Warrior to compensate, but because we are so slow, we're slow on movement, slow on attacks, it makes everything else feel awful, right? The clear is so many things about the Warrior are good. The speed is the one thing that is consistent throughout the whole class that makes everything else feel bad. So let's talk about the speed real quick. Why does the speed suck? Well, the weapons suck. All the weapons are super slow. The advanced, the Temple Maul, Expert Advanced is 1.2 base. You look at some of the other bases. This is 1.05, I believe. 1.2 is a Temple, 1.5 for the Cultists. Let's see, do I have a lead-in? A lead-in is 1.1, and I don't have it up right now. Let me go to POE 2DB. Sorry about this. And you look at the other melee class, we'll go to Quarterstaffs, and you're going to see something very funny about the Quarterstaffs, right? Their bases. 1-4, 1-4, 1-4, 1-5, 1-4, 1-4, 1-4. 135, 15, blah, 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 right? If we go to gems, we go to skill gems. Let me just find a gem for the monk. What is this? What's going on here? How is there not a single gem showing up here? Strike? Ice strike, right? Let's look at ice strike. Attack speed, 140% of base. Staggering palm, 90% of base. All right. Killing palm, 90%, right? Tempest flurry, 140, like attack damage, attack speed, 90, shattering. 90. Was this actually 140? But yeah, you see some of the skills are actually even faster with faster bases. Our weapons are so goddamn slow and suck. Now you compound that with 75% of base, 60% of base, 75, Fixed attack time, if it's not a nerf, then it's fixed attack time. 75, 45. It is terrible, right? All these things, in addition to with armor slowing you down more, I have no idea why in the F they don't have something that they had in POE 1 that negates armor movement speed penalties. Like, instead they have stuff like this that makes you slower for 1% regen, which is just like insane, right? Like, the amount of conditional stuff you have as a warrior that reduce attack speed, like, yeah, you know, they want you to be slow, powerful, tactical, methodical, and it does work, but the totality of the warrior is just, if they just buff speed a little bit all around, and now I'm getting to my solutions, if they just maybe gave a little bit more attack speed on the bases, maybe they gave more access to skill and attack speed on the tree, because all this pathing is wonky. You get some attack speed here pretty damn far, and you get 5% here, and that's really it. That's the only accessible speed that you can really get as a warrior, and it's unfortunate. All those things factor within themselves, and you look at the skill gem speeds, and you're like, damn, this sucks. Like, what am I going to do? Me, I'm an Earthshatter guy, and realistically, the only slam that's viable, really, as a main clearing and combination single target skill is Earthshatter. You look at the mandatory support gem, and you got 20% less attack speed on top of that. What the F, bro? Not only are you doing 40% less, like, it still is a damage multiplier, but now you got to do it even slower, which forces you to use Martial Temple. If it sucks, it feels bad. All these things in combination are awful. So the warrior does not suck. It's just that so many things are good about the warrior: defensives, damage, taking this clear. But as soon as you factor in the totality of the warrior and how much speed affects everything in the game, all of a sudden everybody just sours on the class, and they're like, well, it sucks. It does not suck. It is good. Objectively, it is good. You can clear the game, right? You can clear it well. You can clear it comfortably. You can get tanky. You can get incredible damage. You have good build variety. Some people say you don't have good build variety. I think you do. But, you know, you got totems, you got slams, you got rage on hit, you got bleed, dot, you got ignite builds. You have summoner builds as the Warbringer. You got Warcry spamming builds like this Warbringer. You have a lot of variety and options. You got perfect parry shield builds. I'm not sure if anybody's doing fire builds like fire ignite with perfect strike, but you got a lot of options, right? So build variety is good. Defenses are good. So many things are good about the class, but the speed, that is the #1 issue, and they got to fix it. The first step, they have to get rid of the movement speed penalties on armor, or give the warrior an innate ability to overcome these movement speed penalties, and that will be the first big fix. The second big fix is to fix all these skills so they don't have such hampering attack speed multipliers. I gotta attack 75% slower with Earthquake, and the monks are doing 140 faster. Like, what is that? You gotta give me a break, man, right? So that's pretty much the TLDR, the video. Fix speed. Don't listen to a lot of the haters. If you are a hater watching this video, well, not a hater, but, you know, I get so many comments, bro, how could you say the warrior is good? It fucking sucks. Like, it is shit. The other classes are so much better. And then I'm like, well, I have a different definition of good, man. Like, is the warrior slow? Yes. Does that still mean it can't be good? No, it can still be good, but slow. All right, but if you want to make the class feel better, GGG, just improve the overall speed, get rid of some of the dumb attack speed penalties, make maybe the weapon base a little bit better. Maybe they're saving that for the axes and swords, probably, but there's that. Now, I want to get into the skills, because that's a whole other discussion that, in addition to speed, compounds why the class feels awful for some people, not me. So I'm going to try to quickly go over the skills. First off, talk about Earthquake. Earthquake, if I did a tier list, Earthquake is utter dog shit. There are so many problems with Earthquake. The biggest one that everybody knows, 4 seconds. I gotta wait 4 fucking seconds for this aftershock to trigger. Utter bullshit. Problem number 2, if I'm fighting a boss, I have to back up and go, because Earthquake moves you. It's not like Earthshatter where you attack standing. You know, GGG had this whole thing in POE 2. Oh, I love melee because I can move while attacking. Yeah, that's good in theory, and then when you actually fight maybe a boss with a smaller hitbox, all of a sudden you're like, bro, I'm not even attacking where I want. If I put my mouse right here and I want to attack right there, right on top of me, I'm a melee character. I'm a warrior, right? Look where I am. I put my mouse there. Why am I attacking over there? That's like the second issue in and of itself, besides the delay. The biggest issue is that in combination with all these things, you can only get 1 Earthquake. Even ideally with reduced attack speed over here, I have tried it, and faster speed, whatever the hell. Lesser skill duration, 2.2 seconds or whatever. Dude, I'm only going to get 1 of these after earthquakes every 2.2 seconds, and I can't overlap it. So if the boss is standing still, you're literally missing so much damage while you have this absolutely dog shit multiplier compared to some of the other skills. Like, come on, bro. Utter dog shit. This and Volcanic Fissure, utter dog shit. Those are the really two utter dog shit skills. And I'll continue. Volcanic Fissure, you look at the video, the aftershocks, you have to use a different Slam skill. And look how embarrassingly small those aftershocks are. Like, what is the point of even using this? It absolutely terrible. It just needs a complete revamp. Maybe add a projectile portion where projectiles shoot. Maybe when it makes contact with an enemy, and you, what they could do is, like, you use a different Slam, it hits the enemy, and the fissures keep on chaining and triggering off themselves. They got to do something. Both of these are utter dog shit, right? You might go, oh, well, Moses, Earthquake scales well with Bleed because, you know, it has no support like Upheaval, which reduces the hit portion. And I would say it does not matter because this is not a combo skill. Why the hell would you ever use this for, like, your big combo skill when you have Supercharged Slam and, more importantly, Hammer to Gods? All right. Next skill, Boneshatter. Boneshatter is incredible. I do wish it was more usable as a primary skill, but... You know, it's a combo skill. It performs its function incredibly well. Does pretty good with bleeds. You know, it can kind of chain off itself, not literally, but the AoEs can trigger other enemies to be primed for stun, and then you Boneshatter again. You get those nice chains. Really, really cool. Rolling Slam, it's 11 skill. They did buff it, but again, the fixed attack time, it does not scale linearly with Rolling Slam. Attack speed and skill speed does affect it, but that first big slam, it's always going to be like super slow. Like I've done testing in OBS when I'm editing videos to like see the frames, and the framing on the first slam right there, it's almost always the same, and it's really the second slam that gets that increased speed. But even with that said, it's still too slow. The fixed attack time got to be a little bit lower, or better scaling with skill and attack speed. Armor Breaker is cool. You know, I think it sucks because there's really no point. Splinter and Warbringer, you get that function. Armor Breaker is good as a utility with the Ancestral Warrior Totem, which is cool. It also has a little bit different utility because the more attack speed multiplier. So I do think it's possible to do a Cultist Great Hammer build and use Armor Breaker as your, let's say your left click, right? You can use that as your left click to get people Prod for Stun and Boneshatter. But is that viable for bosses? I'm not sure. Maybe you can use Boneshatter to consume your armor break, and that way you get even more damage, maybe even a bigger bleed that way, stuff like that. Alright, so that's that, right? Shockwave Totem, pretty cool. They kind of gutted this the last patch, so as of patch 0.11, it's kind of bricked, unless you have Astral Projector, I believe, but overall, it's a cool skill. My only big complaint is that if they change Shockwave Totem, it triggers Jagged Ground. The Earthquake, this is the intended combination that they want to do. Even though it triggers its Jagged Ground, what Shockwave Totem should do is the Slam should trigger the Jagged Ground eruption of the skill that creates the Jagged Ground. What I mean is that if my Earthquake creates that Jagged Ground and the Aftershock is created from that Jagged Ground, it should be using this multiplier instead of this shitty-ass multiplier. That is my problem. I get that may be a balance issue, but if these things work, now all of a sudden you open up a whole new build possibility with Earthquake and Shockwave Totem. You know, a hybrid minion Shockwave Totem or Totem and on hit build. I think that'd be cool. And they should try to work something out with that way. That way Earthquake would make be usable, right? But Earthquake, utter dog shit, needs a whole bunch of mechanical. The Jagged Grounds need to be able to trigger on top of each other. I don't care if it's too strong. Even with the damage numbers, fix it. Mechanically, it is dog shit, and it's going to be dog shit till they fix it. Infernal Cry. Infernal Cry Seismic Cry, very, very good. Awesome skills, right? Empower. Whatever. We need more War Cries. I love War Cries. War Cries are great, right? Shield Charge, great. Super fast skill as soon as you get Giant's Blood or your one-hander with a Totem build or a Shouting Man build. Super cool. So, yep, pretty fast. I wish I had a lower cooldown, but hey, they want you to be slow. Perfect Strike. I'm not sure if this is an endgame build viable skill, but leveling and clearing the early game bosses, very, very good. Molten Blast, I think, sucks. Unless that shrapnel triggers on the boss that it creates from, or on the single target, maybe it's good, but looks like it can be a decent clearing skill. It doesn't really fit a warrior mace. Like, I don't know, maybe a one-handed build, this would be kind of cool, but I don't know. Maybe the clear is good, maybe you can chain it, maybe other support gems are out there that make it pretty fun, but not a big fan of it. The shield skills I'll talk about together. I think shields are cool. I wish there was Shield Crush right here. I don't think it would have been too hard for them to create that into the game. I think it would feel really, really good with the Titan playstyle. I know the Titan is more slam focused, but I think, well, maybe even Warbringer, they could have done more of a shield focused build, and really no shield crush or spectral shield throw. In POE 1, you had shield crush, you would slam your shield in melee. You would be able to do whole builds that way. Very, very cool. Very immersive, very cool for ARPG. Or you could throw your shield, your like heavy armor shield, chain, explode, a whole bunch of cool stuff, right? So it's a shame that's not in the game. These things, you know, this is a nice utility. One thing about, well, shield wall is that it does block like projectiles and stuff and absorb damage, so that's really cool. It has that max life. Resonating shield, you can move around, you can break armor this way. I don't think it's really that important because you can break armor other ways. And to conclude, talking about all the shields, is that you get the perfect parry, the magma barrier. And people have done complete builds, one-shotting bosses, which is hilarious. And I think that should stay in the game because it kind of rewards proactive playstyle. So the shields aspect of Warrior, pretty cool. We're going on to Leap Slam, utter dog shit. This is above the tier of utter dog shit compared to Earthquake and Volcanic Fissure, just because it's mobility, right? It's so goddamn slow. You know, you can use it for stun build up, but it doesn't make sense. You just got to increase the speed. There's no ifs and buts about it. And then when you're leap slamming, like the mechanics of the game and the engine does not allow you to be airborne, so you're still gonna get hit by shit. So that kind of sucks. Earthshatter I'll say for last because that's my skill choice. Sunder is in a pretty good spot. The only issue is the attack speed, right? So Sunder having such a low, having the total attack time, this does get affected, right? So my Sunder is like 2 seconds. If I engrave it right here, I'll put it right here instead of Earthquake, and you'll see my Sunder is, well, let me do this real quick. Attack time is like 2 seconds, which feels awful, right? So as the 1.4, with all the scaling and reduced, it feels like awful, which sucks. But, you know, as a skill, looking at it, it is pretty damn good. You have a built-in 7-link with armor consumption. You have another link, free link with damage bonus, and it has no cooldown. So for armor breaker build, which I'm doing, I'm using Hammer to Gods with the armor consumption, I believe, exploit weakness. But you can use a more spammy build with Sunder, but it contradicts what I'm trying to do with this build, which you'll look in another video. But Sunder, very, very good. Awesome kind of line. The aftershocks are great. It chains. Not the best AoE, but good, you know, for corridors and stuff like that, and good damage burst. It's a nice kind of chain reaction. Break armor, Sunder, right? I just wish it wasn't so slow. Alright. But overall, pretty good, right? We'll talk about Fissure, utter dog shit. Talked about that. Supercharged Slam isn't weird because, like, for the first, like, 72 hours of the game, it was utterly amazing. One of the best, I think it was the best skill in the game. Damage was insane. Now, even with the investment, I haven't really tested it too much, but pretty good. I don't think you use Tremor support here. Kind of the initial hit damage scaling is low, as you see there. And with that said, if you nerf it by even more, it just hampers the scaling ability. You get 200% more damage with quality at the final hit, which is great. Big screen AoE clear. Very, very cool. Doesn't scale well with like dots, with like bleed or ignite, but for a more hit focused build, it is pretty cool if you can use like maybe as a combo skill again, get the heavy stun or get the armor break, and then you consume it with Supercharged Slam. Overall good though, you know. It just, ever since that like bug fix, it just feels a little underwhelming, and we'll talk about why in a bit. Stampede, objectively one of the best, probably the best skill the Warrior has, because every single guy and their mother is using this. It's an incredible skill, incredible AoE, guaranteed aftershocks. Such a good skill. I personally hate this skill and I despise it. Just because I hate something, does that mean it's bad? Absolutely not. It is objectively good. It is a good skill. But because it's so slow, and because you get caught on people, this video right here is bait, because you're gonna get caught on people charging into them. You're running in place, which is really stupid. I hate that. But overall, it's a great skill. This would be absolutely amazing if they introduced a mechanic for Warrior like phasing. Let's say they maybe introduce, I don't know, like they had like a Juggernaut notable or Keystone, something like. Based off your total armor threshold, you can push enemies, right? And if you break their armor, if their armor's like broken or low, it's easier to push them around like they push us. So if they did something like that, not exactly phasing, but where as you stampede, you can push enemies and get them all in one big area, I think that would be very thematic, and I think that would be incredible for them to introduce a mechanic like that. Warrior Totem, I talk about the totems. You have viable totem builds, which make them good. I don't know what they are, but plenty of people are using them. Very cool. Even for non-totem builds, good utility. Armor Breaker, Font of Rage, Font of Blood. Very, very nice. And of course, to end it, Hammer to Gods. Absolutely incredible skill. This is exactly what I wanted in POE 2, something like this. Long cooldown, slow as hell. Massive damage, easy bleed access, huge ignite, huge bleed. Huge build enabler, right? Just absolutely incredible skill. Exactly what we need. The exact, pretty much negatives to pay off, right? Like, we have a massive reward for a massive cost being so slow and the long cooldown, but it makes it worth it for the massive reward and enables a lot of the one-shot builds and massive damage. Really satisfying from a gameplay perspective to build up the heavy stun or build up the, you know, armor breaker and consume it. A lot of cool stuff that you can do here. Can't be evaded. Incredible skill. And another thing, talking about can't be evaded, I think slams in general should not require accuracy. I think all slams, because you're attacking the ground, like, how are they dodging it? Maybe a strike, melee attack, they need accuracy, but that's that. All right, so that's all the skills and my proposed changes. Some other things I would like to see from the game is the introduction of Impale, more roar cries, more shield skills. And again, a lot of this stuff is coming soon, right? As you see here, and I'm sure axes and swords will introduce some more mechanics, but I think the introduction of armor break is incredible. Aftershocks as a mechanic is incredible. It's one of the best mechanics in the game, especially for melee. Hopefully axes and swords might get some version of it, and I think that would be awesome. Another huge thing that they need to add is some type of onslaught access, maybe for mace skills too. They have it for axes over here, but I still really think they should add it to maces or just melee in general. Maybe make it a melee only thing, right? Maybe your skill speed for melee attacks and slams and stuff like that are benefit from onslaught, or onslaught benefits better from melee. So those are all the negatives. Really, it's just speed, and the speed just F's everything else about the warrior. You can overcome it. I don't really care. Like, I don't care about being a little bit slower and methodical compared to like the other classes. I still love the class. Still think it's good. It's objectively good. You know, sue me for saying that. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, probably not a popular video, I know, not a build guide, but, you know, I think it's to put it to rest that the warrior is not bad. The warrior, overall, to me, does not feel like shit to play, even compared to, like, mana man's, mana stackers, mana woman's, spark builds, and the monk. I still think it's very good. It feels good. The speed kind of sucks to overcome, but overall, it's a good class, and armor's good, defenses are good. Don't listen to a lot of the haters. GGG, all they really need to do is just fix some speed. That's really it. Armor, weapon bases, attack speed skills, some support gems. And that'll be add some more support gems. You know, maybe onslaught access easier instead of a unique. And that would fix a lot of the issues. That's pretty much it, guys. Most of it Tech here. If you liked the video, you made it this far. You made it to the TLDR. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you maybe get something from it. Learn, like, oh, you know what? Maybe I gotta reevaluate how I play warrior, or reevaluate. Maybe, hey, I'll wait for the next patch or two. Most of Tech here. Have a good one.